Hi, welcome to Geeks and Makeup, and this is the final video for the product series. Yeah! Go! Hi, I'm Oxy, and you may ask, why do you have your face painted like that? So, okay, if you haven't watched them, watch my Produce 101 and my Produce 48 videos. We are in this channel, we talk about things that I like while I put my makeup on. And the idea was to do like a fantasy body paint makeup throughout the 3 videos. So in the first Produce 101 video, I made the eye look and the base and things like that. In the Produce 48, I made this galaxy, and now we are going to paint some planets, and it's gonna be exciting. Exciting. Me English good. We are going to be talking about Girls Planet 99, and I'm disappointed but not surprised. Since my face makeup is already done, you're going to be watching more of my chest. Yes, we're going to talk about Girls Planet 999, and you may ask, Auxin, if they are the same, why they change the name? Why not calling it Produce 999? Well, my childrens, the thing is, they were caught messing with the boat, so they had to change the name in order of people watching it. Because when it was announced, I have to admit I was like, as I said on the Produce 101 video, I know there's a level of editing and I don't mind it. Like, I know you have to do that in order to people watch it and in order to keep the things interesting, but Produce 48 left a really bad taste in my mouth. I don't think they successfully made... Can you hear? This sounds dirty. This should be for my OnlyFans. Should I open an OnlyFans? Leave a comment. Produce 48 left a really bad taste in my mouth. I think they didn't successfully accomplish anything except forming Ison, which is a treasure. But the plots were weak. They didn't give us a happy ending. I don't know, it was disappointing. So at first I was like, okay, I'm not watching. That's it, I'm not watching. I'm not watching the show. So it was a lie. It was a fucking lie, and we all know it. I was lying to myself. I'm a huge fan of CLC. I have been following CLC for a while now, and when I found out that Chua Yujin was going to participate, I didn't have a choice. I had to watch the show. I didn't have a choice, okay? I didn't have a choice. It's not my fault, it's CLC fault, okay? I'm not a mess. It's CLC. Let's normalize blame CLC for anything that happens in your life. Anyways, after the whole Produce 48 fiasco, Mnet needed to change the game so people would watch the show, because I think nobody wanted another show by Mnet. And they came up with this formula of getting 33 Korean trainees, 33 Chinese, and 33 Japanese in what they will call a global K-pop group. And we should have known this was going to be a lie. Like, we should have known. It was really obvious. Like, we haven't learned anything from Produce 48. We know how they treated Japanese trainees, and we still hope for these Chinese and these Japanese trainees to be treated better. Really? We, the audience around the world, could vote, not only the Korean audience, which leads me to think, if in Produce 48 you didn't let Japanese people to vote because you say that Japanese trainees were more famous than Korean trainees and it wouldn't be fair, what has changed? Like, most of the Chinese trainees had already debuted and have a fan base. Most of the Japanese trainees were already known. You're just making it worse because you're now admitting that what you did in Produce 48 was fucked up and what you did in Produce 48 wasn't fair for the Japanese girls. And I'm so mad that I choked myself. Anyway, they suffer a lot from the same thing that the rest of the Produce series have suffered. And it's like, it's impossible to learn everyone's name and to know everyone and to fall in love with everyone. Moreover, the problem that they had is that they wanted to spice things up and change things up. And what they did was to form cells, groups of 3 people, 1 Korean trainee, 1 Chinese trainee, and 1 Japanese trainee, and they will share their fate. Meaning, if you wanted to vote for 1 Korean trainee, you also had to vote for the Japanese trainee and the Chinese trainee she formed a cell with. Imagine that I want to vote for a random Korean trainee number 27. Okay, so I also have to vote for random Japanese trainee number 25 even if I don't like her because they are on the same cell. And the good thing with this is that way there will always be the same number of Japanese, Chinese, and Korean trainees. Like, if you had to vote regardless of the nationality, and the Korean vote counted 50%, which is like, why? Like, you are opening the vote internationally to now say that Korean vote is 50% of the votes. Like, why? There's not only Korean trainees. It really shows that they have no intention of treating them equally or to treat the Japanese and the Chinese girls fair. The problem was that many trainees who were ranked higher than their cellmates were eliminated because their cellmates were not as popular. Yes, I will forever be bitter about Daejeon. Like, in the ranking of the 3 Korean trainees, Daejeon was 17. Like, that was a lot. She was going to make it to the next episode, but then her cellmates were not as popular as her cell was not voted, so she was kicked out. And people who was the 27 or the 18... No, there's not 18. Well, you get the point. Like, people who were less popular than her made it to debut, and it's like, I can't believe you have done this. I can't believe why I keep expecting more from Mnet. Why? Also, the cell system was a way of reassuring us that there will be 3 Korean, 3 Japanese, and 3 Chinese in the group. Like, that makes sense, right? If you are making a 9 girls group and there's the same number of Korean trainees, Chinese trainees, and Japanese trainees, you will debut at the same number of trainees. Like, that's the whole premise of the show, right? So that was a lie. Another one. That's the theme of this video. Disappointing. Disappointed. Disappointment. Mnet being a bitch. After a couple of episodes, they dropped the cell system, and all of a sudden you had to vote for one person of each group. 1 Korean trainee, 1 Japanese trainee, and 1 Chinese trainee. It was going to be the 9 people with the highest voting regardless of the nationality. And I just got Produce 48 flashbacks. Like, you know, in the movies, the war flashback. Produce 48 is my Vietnam. I remember thinking, there's no way they are going to let so many Chinese and so many Japanese to debut. And I was right. Almost every episode, there was either a Chinese or a Japanese as the top one in the center of the group. And all of a sudden, in the last episode, the center of the group and the trainee that placed first was a Korean. Surprise!
Whoa. Surprise!
No, I'm not surprised. They could have been at least they could have pretended that they were going to do it like that. Like, I felt so bad watching the finale. Like, I live streamed the finale on my Instagram, and I remember halfway through it I was like, I'm not going to upload anything new because it doesn't make sense. If they wanted to make a all Korean group, just do it. Like, just do it. I wasn't expecting anything from you and you still disappoint me. And I think this comes also from what we were talking on the first episode of this series, the Produce 101. The power of editing is so obvious what they wanted to do from the beginning. I think they chose the Japanese girls as the underdogs, the cute but not so talented. I'm not saying that's what I think from the Japanese girls. I'm saying that that's why Mnet decided to show us some of the things that we as viewers saw on them, the talent, the hard work, way they were really good leaders. The Koreans were shown as these super talented, hardworking, incredible girls, which, to be fair, they are. I mean, I'm sure they are. They really tried to sell that there wasn't anyone else as talented as the Koreans. And it infuriated me because, yes, the Koreans are really talented, but again, if you want to do a group full of Koreans, just do a group full of Koreans. Like, don't play with Chinese and Japanese girls' dreams just because you want to sell that you are doing a global girl group, because you are not. And you're a piece of the worst editing in the history of editing has to be the Chinese girls. Like, these poor girls, am I making the right planets? They are 9. Ah, no, wait. They kick one out. There's 8 planets. Those poor girls were placed as the villains for the beginning. And even when the Korean girls were being rude to them, I'm not saying that all of the Korean girls were rude to them or anything like that, or that there was a beef between them. Like, I'm really not saying that. What I'm saying is that there were moments where I think there were misunderstanding between them, and I completely understand that. The Korean girls didn't speak Chinese, the Chinese girls didn't speak Korean. It was difficult for them, I get it, but they were really trying to sell that the Koreans were being all nice and that the Chinese girls were difficult to work with, and I was like, am I watching a different show? Like,
So I think this evil Mnet editing is more clear with two contestants in particular, Kai Bing and Fu Yaning. I will talk about Fu Yaning later because there's a lot about her to talk about. There's a lot about her to talk about. Anyway, we cannot deny, even if you feel a certain way about them, that Mnet really fucked them over. All of the Chinese trainees. Kai Bing was always on the top 9, placed the top 8, top 7 for several episodes. She formed a really popular cell with Mei and Chua Yu-yin, and I think Mnet realized that she was getting really popular and that they couldn't have so many Chinese members debuting on the team, so they decided to give the job to some of them. They really tried to sell us a situation that was just not happening. It all started with one of the missions. So she performed Salute. In particular, I want to highlight Doa, which I'm going to get quite a few hate for this, but the way Doa treated Kaibing, it really was shitty. And again, it's probably because they are recording these people 24/7. If they recorded one of us 24/7, they could show our worst behavior or our best, and Mother Teresa could look like the devil. That's normal, and I'm not saying that Doa is a terrible person. I say that in that moment she didn't behave correctly in my eyes.
some of the Korean girls were really mean to her, and I think it's not because they are mean. They were under a lot of pressure, and it's normal that they exploded. We have to agree that not everything that the Koreans did was right.
And that leads me to Fu Yaning or Jenny. Like on the very first episode, I was like, I cannot stand this girl. I cannot believe that she's making it to another episode. She performed Helicopter by CLC. Cho Yu-jin, who is part of the original CLC, or was part of the original. Damn, that hurt. Anyway, so she was there, and Fu Yanin said in a recent interview that she has a lot of respect for Chua Yo-jin, and you see that on the last episode where they are really close, they are really good friends. She says to Chua Yo-jin, "We go up," which is a line from the song, and then she points at her and said, "And you don't," and you see Chua Yo-jin taken a bit back. And she said that all of that was staged by Mnet, that Mnet forced her to say that, and that Chua Yuyi didn't react that way. And I completely believe this because if you remember in Product 101, there was one preview, one ad that became a bit famous in which John Somi was seen like being held back and was seen fighting, and we never saw what happened. That didn't happen in the actual episode. It turns out Somi said that it was all staged and that she suggested to the producer, "Hey, do you want to? This will be fun. Like, could we shot like I was actually going to fight someone?"
I don't know, I feel so bad for some of these girls, most of these girls, because it was really the last chance for many of them to debut because of Mnet editing and especially because of the voting system. The top 9 would have been so different if the Korean vote didn't count for half of the vote. I will talk about the top 9 now because I'm not happy with the top 9, but also I'm not hating on the girls. The girls are incredibly talented, and I get that they are just doing their work, and it's not their fault that Mnet decided to do this. These girls, the Chinese and the Japanese, deserve it better than Mnet, and I really hope that they get to debut. Kim Chae-hyun from Wake One Entertainment as the center and top 1, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest here, she's really talented and she should be the main vocalist. I think this group was needing a main vocalist. Her voice is the voice of an angel. Like, she really is talented and she really has the most beautiful kind voice, like this voice that is just like, the thing is, I don't know if I see her as center. To be the center, you don't have to be the best singer or the best vocalist of the group or the best dancer of the group. I think you have to have this charisma, this charm. And I don't know, I think I see her more as the leader, the main vocalist. You know, those things that are really good and you have to be really talented to get there. The top two was Gwenin Bahi. I don't know how it's pronounced her name, I'm so sorry. Bahi, sweetie, I'm so sorry. But I'm 90% sure that Mnet didn't want this to happen. She barely has a screen time. And if this was Produce 48 or Produce 101, she wouldn't have made it to the finals, even less to debut. I think she's the proof that this reality is not rigged. Then the third one was Yujin! Yes! I mean, as I said, I'm a huge Cheshire. I'm a huge fan of CLC, and the fact that Yujin finally is getting the recognition she deserves, I'm not going to die. I cried like a little baby. I was sitting on the couch, my grandma was on the other couch, my dad was in the kitchen, and I was just telling them, pray for Choi Yujin. And I think they didn't realize what I was talking about. They didn't have an idea who Choi Yujin was. And when they announced Choi Yujin, I turned to my grandma and I was like, Grandma, Yujin made it! And she was like, okay. Then we have Kim Dayon from Jellyfish Entertainment, which there have been many comments about this because it was clear that Mnet really wanted Dayon to debut, and honestly, I'm not mad about it. I think Dayon is really talented and she's a great leader and she has done great this far, so why not? I mean, it was a bit annoying that the whole show seemed to be Dayon's Girls Planet, but hey, I'm not mad about it. It was made a bit in your face, like, yes, we want her to debut, vote for her. It was a bit like that, but I'm not mad at it. I think she's really talented and she's really nice. And that last performance where she was the team captain of the center of the second group, the hello baby, come on baby, it felt like you were watching Mamas. Like, it felt like it was an hour show. Like, then we have Seo Yeon-yoon, and okay, so I know many of you love her, and she's not my cup of tea. Felt like she was a bit cocky. I don't know, that's only my opinion, and I'm completely aware that I'm only watching what Mnet wants me to watch, so I'm not watching who they are really, so I'm not judging her as a person. Putting so much pressure, they are probably not sleeping, not eating, so I will behave like a little bitch in those circumstances. Like, they are really nice to each other. I will be fighting. Then we have Kanye Seo, and I'm so happy that she made it. She's so cute and she's so good of an actress. I would have hoped that she was the center, honestly. If they had to pick a Korean to be the center, I wanted her to be the center because she's amazing performing. That Fate performance, goosebumps. I'm really happy. She was out of the top 9 for many episodes, so I was so happy that she finally made it. Esaki Hikaru, I feel sometimes that she overdoes it, but then I think that she's 15, I think, or 16, and when I was 16 I was so cringy, so I don't blame her. Then we have Sakamoto Mashiro, and yes, the scream that I let out when Sakamoto Mashiro debuted, like, I was so happy. She's so nice, she's so talented, and she has such a good leadership skills, and I love Mashiro so much. Yes, Mashiro, yes. And finally we have Shen Xiaoting, and Shen Xiaoting is the clear example of how rigged this show, not rigged in the sense of messing up the votes, but rigged in the sense of how the Chinese girls were set up to fail. Shen Xiaoting was the number 1 pick in the Chinese trainees. She was number 1 for many episodes, and all of a sudden she barely makes the top 9, and they even had to release some of the interim evaluation before the grand final. They showed the rankings, and it was obvious that Shen Xiaoting was out of the top 9, and I think they made that so people will vote for Shen Xiaoting because the Korean vote was really big and was really kicking her out of the group, and Shen Xiaoting deserved to be the center, deserved to be the top 1 because she had been consistent throughout the show, and the fact that she barely made it really says a lot about what they were expecting for the Chinese girls and what they were expecting the Chinese girls to place on the show, which was not much. I know that usually I only talk about the girls who have debuted, but I need, please, a moment of silence for my girls who didn't debut it. And I fell in love with Janine. She's so nice. Like, what you see is what she is. Like, she's not trying to be anyone else. And I don't know, I really like her. And I'm following her now, and I hope she puts more music out. She has some songs, and she's such a talented rapper. And yes, I know, there was a controversy with her. She said the N-word during a concert, and I'm really aware that that's completely wrong and that she should have known better, and just because I like her, I'm not excusing her behavior. Yes, she did bad. That's it. She messed up. She apologized, which, by the way, is an apology that I don't have to accept. It's for the black community to accept. If the black community doesn't accept the apology, it's completely fine. Like, I don't think we should tell the community that is affected by her word to accept the apology or to deny the apology, especially because she's fluent in English. So she should have known better, and I'm not going to excuse that. Also, Sushi Yin, I follow her since Youth With You. She has the most beautiful voice you've ever heard. Like, she's so talented. I hope she can put more songs out. I know she's a really known soloist in China, so I hope she can keep up with that because her voice is just... And she has released some Instagram lives talking about the background of the Girls Planet 999, what happened on the audition, and it's scary to hear some of the things that she talked about. She said that they didn't sleep for 30 hours, they didn't eat for 12 hours, that the songs were chosen by Mnet. Then Bora and Jiwon and May, my girl from Cherry Bullet. I hope FNC Entertainment takes into consideration how popular they have gotten with Girls Planet 999, and I hope they gave more Cherry Bullet comebacks, because their last comeback, Love So Sweet, is a masterpiece and you all are sleeping on it, and I'm not going to accept it. Also, Kawaguchi Yorina, I really hope she joins Island. I heard that her parents don't support her and that she is probably going to not follow her dreams of being an idol. I'm really sad about that. And that's it. That's the produced series. I hope you liked it. Hope you watch all the videos, subscribe, follow me on my social media, because I'm going to upload that photo of this better done. I mean, it's well done because I really like it. I have done like 3 of these over the past few years. Like, every year I feel like I do one of these, and this is the one that I most like, but I get that in the camera you probably don't see all the details, and in the photo it will look better. So yeah, comment below what you want to watch. Hope you like it, hope you subscribe, and bye!